Welcome to the After the Show Movie Podcast, brought to you by your hosts, Ascully and Cidtalk. We're addicted to movies. Are you? Hello, welcome, goodwill to all men. And you, Cidtalk.
Thanks.
How are you doing?
All men and me.
Yeah, all men and you.
Do you mean all humankind, or do you literally mean all men?
Just men.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just need clarification. You know, hey. It's a free world. You say what you need to say.
I will.
I'm good. I don't know about all the men.
What was we talking about before the show started?
Well, after the show was really not a lot of talking.
We were talking about this movie probably a bit.
This movie, and then blank, and then you doing some stuff on the computer.
That was it.
Me looking at movies that I think I've seen, but then I don't remember. You know, stuff like that.
Stuff like that.
General before the after the show discussion stuff.
All right, it is Friday, August the 16th. This is After the Show, number 852. We're a movie review podcast. Every week we like to bring you our reviews of new movies, and this week is no exception with the movie Twisters. It's a 2024 release, out now on it's not out on Blu-ray, it's out on streaming. You can rent it, you can stream it, all those things. It's rated PG-13. Its runtime is 2 hours and 2 minutes, and it's from our friends at Universal. Cidtalk, can you give us the synopsis of the movie Twisters? And then when you give us your incorrect one, I'll give you the real one.
It's Twister, but now. That's it. If you haven't seen Twister, then you don't know what I mean. But that's it. That's all it is.
Is it based on the board game Twister?
No. It is the movie Twister. But 20 years later? More than 20 years later? Oh, my God.
Something like that.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, I'll give you the real one off the box.
Okay.
Well, there is no box, but there we go. Kate Carter, a retired tornado chaser and meteorologist, is persuaded to return to Oklahoma to work with a new team and new technology.
Okay, when you say retired...
She's like 20.
I'm 56, and people say I'm too young to be retired. I am retired. So this woman is not retired.
I mean, she's so young.
She was a storm chaser in college, and now she isn't 5 years later. So that's very misleading. So mine is better on this one. It just put on the box, it's Twister 20 years later.
24-year-old retiree, Kate.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But I guess, yes, she is retired.
Yeah, she
because
quit
of an incident.
the situation.
Yes.
Sure.
All right, Cidtalk, you've seen the original Twister, and now you've seen Twisters. What did you think?
Correct. It's the same. Of course, when I saw Twister, it's back in the day, original in the theater, back in 1996, I'm assuming. That's when it was. I saw it multiple times because I used to go to the theater when I had no money, and I would ride the bus and then just... Come
to the theater when you've got no money.
I had no money, hardly.
But you need money.
I had a little bit of money, but not enough to watch like 6 movies a day. But wink, wink, I did see 6 movies a day. We're just going to leave it at that. Okay, I'm a criminal.
Can I call the cinema police?
Please do. It was in Florida, so it's going to be hard to track it all down. That mall might be gone by now. Who knows? Right. But so at that time, it was the year of the big disaster movies. Remember? All the big stuff coming out in that in the next year as well. So I was kind of attached to disaster movies. And this one just won me over, and I didn't mind. I mean, I'm like everyone. I was not really on board with the whole weird holding on to the belt and the twister at the end and the well. All that stuff was a bit like, whatever. But so the story of storm chasers who have lost something, and the storm and the tornado is very elusive to them, and they want to control it and contain it and understand it because of trauma, is this movie. Yeah. It's exactly this movie. So it wasn't really anything new. Some new special effects, maybe. New technology to try to do something to the tornadoes. But it's still just a fun romp. That's the way I describe it.
Yeah, stupid, but fun.
I mean, people die. So it's not like super like, oh, ha, ha. But all disaster movies seem to really dismiss the death and destruction that happens in them. So...
yeah, this one tried to touch on it, but then I felt like it was almost insensitive because it was like, oh, look, here's people who have been hurt by a tornado and look at their town hall. And, oh, let's get on to something else.
Yeah, and it was really serving our little group of people. But that's what
let's make our people look better than they actually are by making them care for these people for a second. Only for a second, though.
If we're going to talk about the characters, yeah, of course, they do a little switcheroony on you there on this one. So that's kind of fun, I guess.
Yeah.
You start out with a band of storm watchers or chasers.
Was it just me, or is that all a load of dumb shit?
Which part?
The YouTubing cowboys.
Oh my God. I wanted them all to get sucked up in
I also did.
That POV shit where they're, we're on the YouTube and we got the followers and we got.
They were basically YouTube storm chasers.
That's how it sounded.
And they just wanted attention and just loud and annoying.
In the end, however, or as we learned,
turns out
they're not bad people. So we had to, but tone it down, motherfuckers. Tone it down.
Yeah, weirdly, they did tone it down. They also changed their brain patterns towards the end of the movie.
Absolutely. They turned into good, not villains.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really a basic storyline with some bad weather thrown in.
But that's what Twister was.
Yeah.
That's it.
I really enjoyed the original Twister because it was such a spectacle for its day. You'd never seen anything like it. Cows flying through the air.
Absolutely. A house on the road. That was my favorite part.
Now, this one, I was thinking, well, we're in 2024 now. Special effects are pretty much as good as they get. We can watch it and believe everything now. I was thinking, well, they're going to go over and above everything they did before, but it's almost a little bit less than what they did before.
It was, and I agree. I was kind of like, whoa.
They reined it in.
I want something bigger than a house on a road. And to be fair, the special effects of the silos catching on fire and all the Transformers electrical things all catching on fire and the twisters, it all looked amazing. I mean, I was on board with all the special effects of stuff flying through the air and landing and all that stuff. But there just wasn't anything as like, whoa, there's a house in the road.
I thought this was a very good sequence. When they went to the bull riding thing, when he's...
rodeo.
They're just watching a rodeo. And then the weather comes through. And it's a whole scene where they're in a rodeo and then they're in the middle of a tornado, in the middle of a tornado. And it was like, it almost felt seamless. Like it started this scene with just some drama and then ended this scene with the shit really hitting the fan.
And it did look good.
That sequence, I think, was my favorite sequence of all the storms. And yeah, there's loads of storms, but it's mostly footage of trucks heading into storms.
It is a lot of that.
Then you see the storm through the windscreen occasionally, that kind of thing. But that one there in the middle of the movie, and also there's one towards the end with the cinema. It's unbelievable, though, that one, because I was like, they're looking out some doors, the doors of the cinema, they've kind of got them. The doors would have been ripped off firstly, but they were holding onto some doors, and you can see outside, it's like Armageddon, basically.
You're trying too hard to squeeze it into reality.
But they're just in a doorway, going, oh. Also, when that water tower fell down, it fell about an inch away from them all, and they were fine.
And they died. They didn't die, yeah. But a water tower falling, that's one of my things.
I did like that.
I'm enamored with water towers. I'm from the country, and so water towers are one day all the water towers are going to come alive and start walking across the landscape. This is a fantasy I have. And so to see a water tower falling over in the middle of a small town, I was like, whoa.
It had that stuff, but then it also broke the believability by it being a bit stupid when stuff happens.
I don't let it break the believability because it's all that. And so you go into it accepting that.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
And the opening I thought was cool too. Spoilers, but this is in the opening 5 minutes. There's a really cool sequence in the opening, and they actually kill people that you were like, oh, well, these are probably going to be the main characters in this.
Big spoiler, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it literally happens at the beginning, but you're like, oh, we've killed 3 people in the space of 5 minutes.
But see, that's her trauma to work through.
And they're also actors that we've seen before, and we're like, oh, I'm thinking, oh, well, she's in it. I like her. And then I'm like, oh, I guess I don't like her. She's gone.
Well, you can still like her.
I mean, I won't be
you can be sad that she's gone.
There's nothing to like anymore because she's gone.
Got it.
Yeah, so they pull that one on you. And was it sad? Was you sad? Was you crying?
I was not.
Well, I don't think it was enough time for
I
you
mean,
to
it was
know.
terrifying because
Yeah.
a tornado ripped away her friends and her boyfriend, and she's the only one who lived. And then the rest of the movie, 5 years later, is her working through that trauma.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, really.
Going back to it, getting back on the bike after you've had a crash kind of thing.
Oh, listen to you. I gotcha.
Yeah. And then, like you say, a twist in like who you like and who you don't like.
Yeah.
It's super basic, the story. You can kind of see it all coming. It doesn't surprise you in any way.
I didn't see that the obnoxious YouTubers were going to turn out to be all right. So, no, I didn't see that. Now, I'm usually the first one on, look out for what's going to happen here. And I didn't see that.
Well, I kind of saw when our heroine was kind of talking to cowboy full of himself man. And he was just, being all bravado and shit. And she seemed like she had an interest in him in some way, some weird, I kind of like this guy. And I was like, well, it's at least going to turn into a romance.
Absolutely.
But I guess it turns into more than that. And they don't really go crazy on the romance, do they, in this movie? It's not.
They don't go crazy with it, but that's the modern way, isn't it? We don't want to lean into the romance because it's kind of tacky and boring. And yet they found a way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like romance without the romance. Like off screen,
which
possibly.
Doesn't make it any more interesting. No.
So aside from the spectacle of the special effects and the really basic story,
all that.
Yeah. Was there anything else you really?
I just really had a good time.
What about its tie to the original movie? Because it doesn't really. I mean, it does, but it doesn't.
Of course it is. Why do people keep saying this?
No, I mean, it does. But
including you.
I'm saying there is no here's Helen Hunt.
It doesn't matter. The original movie is called Twister.
Yeah, I mean, we understand that.
No, but you don't, because everyone keeps saying, it's not really part of the first one. Yes, it is, because without the first one, you wouldn't have Dorothy, which is the invention from the first one. Also, you wouldn't have this fervor, right? Because whatever happened 20 years ago-ish, they probably, in that universe, generated a whole lot of more storm chasers, right? Like they inspired the world of storm chasing. We're going to assume that was a big news story in this world and everybody heard about it because, it was a thing. And now we have their technology, and we're going to add to their technology by not only wanting to study the tornadoes, but wanting to diffuse them or turn them off. And of course it's the same. I don't need the same people.
In this movie, we also fix tornadoes.
Well, not fix it, but if
with
science is trying to figure out how to diffuse one or take away make them stop, basically, which I don't think is probably out of the world of all possibilities. But in this one, I don't know, because I don't know science like that.
From what I just read on the Wikipedia, the science in this movie doesn't stand up to science.
Right, but nobody's ever going to say it does. So I'd have to just really actually talk.
Because they basically throw some stuff up into the tornado and make it fizzle out by throwing stuff in there.
Right, but it's not just stuff, is it? I mean, it's
got a long name and they kept saying it. And once you throw that in there, then
well, it's just stuff that absorbs moisture.
Right.
And so the idea of killing a tornado is if you cut off its source of moisture, which is the humidity and the rain, that will cause it to go, diffuse, fall apart. And
it's like pouring salt on a slug in your garden.
I don't think so, but
that gets rid of the moisture, and then it's
no,
dead.
it just kills the slug.
Yeah, well, because they're they're all moisture.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the idea. So they make a tornado stop. So in my eyes, that technology, I know it's a chemical or something that they used. Now that should be forwarded, right? So in the next, if they made another movie, they should be, either experimenting. Did they mention at the end they were going to be experimenting?
No.
I thought she said something to the guy.
Well, they're going to try to get money to support more study on the subject.
Well, the problem is, because tornadoes are really unpredictable, and you have to drive into it and fire this stuff up into it.
Yeah.
It's probably going to have damaged something before you do that anyway, right? So
it's a stretch, but you know what? I'm there for it.
But it does further the people who do storm chasing. If they've got the goods to stop them, that makes them like firemen. right? Like actually emergency service people. The people who stop the tornadoes.
But we're not going to say storm chasers are like firemen.
No, I'm saying once they've got this technology.
Yes.
They're a public service then. Like they actually should be paid for by the government. They should be doing that job.
Listen to you. You're getting very...
So when you've got like a tornado and they know that in like 2 or 3 hours it's going to hit this town, well, they're the people who go in and get rid of it before it hits the town.
Yeah, good luck with that.
It's all a bit sci-fi.
It's a bit sci-fi-ish, but you know.
Yeah, but that's what they were getting at in this movie. Testing this thing, realizing this actually works, and then maybe another movie will use it in some huge way, like to stop some world disaster, the biggest twister you've ever seen. The twister's the size of the United States.
Yeah, like you said, what could the next movie be called? And I said F6.
Yeah,
because I don't think that's on the range.
It has to be something like that we've never seen, doesn't it? Like the biggest twister ever. Twisters times 10,000. Yeah, let's get on to the cast of this fine movie. We've got Daisy Edgar-Jones as our heroine, Kate. What do you think?
She was good. I mean, there's not a lot going on except she's very traumatized and sad and feels guilty.
Yeah.
So she's mostly a semi-maudlin. You know, she's not really into going back to the whole deal, and she's got kind of a straight face. She doesn't smile a lot, and I don't expect her to. I'm just saying, there's not a lot of variation other than being scared and thinking.
A lot of like, looks, you know, reacting.
She's fun. She's good. I mean, I enjoyed watching her.
We've got Glenn Powell as Tyler. He's the charismatic cowboy. Did you like him? Was he? I mean,
I think unfortunately they ruined him for me in the beginning
by him being all like, hoo-ha,
yep. And I was over it real quick, and I don't know if that's his fault or just the way they chose to.
It's the guy who played Iceman in the Top Gun Maverick, the new Iceman. It's that guy, and he was all charisma in that too, wasn't he? So, I guess I don't think it's his fault that I didn't like that character. I guess his neutral thing is, I'm the man. If you want an actor that's got charisma, you get me.
I don't know about that.
Because I'll wink at you and put my sunglasses on and be sexy and stuff. You know? Because that's what he's doing in this movie.
Pretty sure that's not what's going through his mind, but...
The 2 roles I've seen him in, that's exactly what he's doing now.
Right.
That's what I'm getting at. So, I thought he was okay.
He's fine.
I thought he was better in the second half of the movie when he wasn't being a twat. And I know that was by design. You're supposed to hate him at the beginning, and then you're supposed to warm to him like she does.
But here's the deal. Some people like those crazy, wild, whooping and hollering shit. I'm not that person.
No.
I'm not a fun person, I guess. I don't... I mean, it's that wild... I didn't even like it in the first one. You know, the sort of rogue group of storm chasers, and one of them's slobby and one of them's sloppy and one of them's nerdy, and you know they've got this little group of like
stereotypes.
Yeah, and they're hyped up, like there's too much caffeine and there's too much and if they exist in the real world, I don't hang out with them, so watching them on the screen doesn't trip my trigger.
If they exist in the real world, I'd want to react to them the same I would react to a twister. I would go far away in the opposite direction. You get what I'm saying? There's no way I'd want to hang around these people. Because they're like, yeah, woo. Sometimes for no reason. You're like, why are you even... Why are you whooping? I don't get it.
Why are you whooping?
It's crazy. We've also got Anthony Ramos as Javi. What do you think of this guy?
He was good, actually. I mean, he's one of her surviving friends from the tragedy from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
He has now connected up with the actual bad guy, who is property developer who swoops in after tornadoes and buys the property from people real cheap. And what we're gathering is this friend of hers, Javi, gives this property developer data from these tornadoes. That's why they're chasing him. So he can go to them and say, look, the chances of another tornado coming are this, this, and this, and the damage is going to be this, this, and that. So if you sell me your property now, you can move on to someplace safer, right? It's real sleazy shit. So her friend is tied up in that because this guy has a lot of money and he wanted to do a business and all that stuff. But he's unaware, I think, of like kind of how evil it is.
He's not a bad guy.
No. But he represents that side, sort of like Princess Buttercup's prince. You did, that guy.
Yeah.
Back in the day. But he was good. I mean, I was compelled whenever he was on. I understand that he's dealt with the same trauma she has. And she's sort of dismissive of that in a little bit of a way. Like it's kind of all about her coping with the loss of their friends.
Right.
But he lost his friends that day too. And she kind of doesn't acknowledge that. You know what I mean? So he's kind of got his own movie going on over there where he's trying to figure stuff out. But yeah, I liked him.
Sasha Lane as Lily. Sasha Lane, I put her down because she's the lady from American Honey, the main lady, and she doesn't get anything to do in this movie.
She doesn't, and it's just she
the
flies drone operator.
Yeah, what is cool? That's it. Oh, also hooping and hollering.
Very hoopy, very hollering.
Yeah, I mean she gets nothing, and we know she's good.
Yeah,
but not in the. I mean she's fine, but there's nothing going on. And I don't know why I put this guy down, but I put Harry Haddon Patton as Ben. I think I put him down because of what you said.
Yes.
There's one British character in this whole thing, and he's that idiot character that you've seen in a million movies. The one he's tagging along with them, and he's also stupid. You've seen him in The Mummy.
He's like the liability.
Yes, but also British.
He's portraying a newspaper person, a reporter. We won't say newspaper anymore.
Just tagging along with the YouTubers.
Yes, to write a story about them. But of course, he snags onto the fact that this woman, our main lady, is who she is and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, he's like hapless and afraid. And
it's not funny either. Like, it's just rubbish. Like
it is when people like to make fun of British people.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind making fun of British people, but I mean, this is like it's just like shit. Benny Hill slapsticky comedy, like
a little
that kind
bit.
of stuff.
I mean, it's a little more
like,
advanced
look,
than
he can't put his seatbelt on. That kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I wasn't into that. IMDB Reviews, what are those?
Oh, I'm yawning. Hold on.
You hate this section.
No. IMDB Reviews are reviews on IMDb. And some of them have a really low score. And you like to make fun of the low score ones.
Yes.
You make a funny voice and you hype it up like it's a really big deal that these people don't like it.
All right. The first guy says, this is 1996 all over again, except this time it sucks. To be fair, if you've removed every brain cell before watching this movie, it would probably be a 7 out of 10. But the reality is that within 10 minutes of starting to watch, an ounce of intelligence would creep its way back into your head and you would utter FFS for the next couple of hours. I don't know what that means, but...
I'm going to have a spoiler here. I'm giving this movie a 7, so I guess I've had brain cells removed.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a heads up.
There isn't a single moment of the movie that you will not predict, nor a single moment of the movie that you will have any emotional connection to. If you really want a tornado movie, go and watch the original. It's almost entirely the same story, but with one difference, it sucks 80% less.
All right.
Second guy says, this is the worst movie of 2024 and the worst sequel ever made.
Ever.
As storm season intensifies, the paths of Kate Cooper lured back to the open plain, blah, 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 blah. It's just horrible. The storyline is insultingly bad. The directing is amateurish. And the worst part is you won't care anything about any character. They're all vapid.
I disagree with that.
Well.
I don't care. But I'm not like, I hope they all get sucked up in a tornado.
And this last guy says this movie was boring. No surprises anywhere, unless you're 6 and have never seen a movie before. The dialogue was flat. The main female character hardly makes any sense. She beats supercomputers just by watching wheat. What does that mean?
Well, she watched the wind changing directions.
Oh, yes.
When all of their models were telling them to go one way, she looks at nature and he's insulting that.
The cocky male character was awfully cringy. I can't remember his name. It doesn't matter. Also, why hire actors like Brandon Perry and David Cornsweet to make them rubbish actors with yelling storyline?
Who are those people?
Well, he says they're gorgeous later on in this write-up. They're gorgeous and they've been yeah, they're just yellers. They're hooper and hollowers.
Okay.
Yeah. I hated it with all my heart. My boyfriend, who's a big fan of the original, was furious.
Oh, furious. Oh, my.
Yeah. So that's what the people on IMDb say. Let's give the movie a score, even though you've already ruined your score. I'm going to give Twisters a 6 out of 10.
Oh, 6. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm going 7 just because I had a good time and I revisited some of my Twister memories and it was fine.
I mean, this movie's been on my radar for a long time. I saw, like, maybe 2 years ago, they just announced, like, it was coming out and they had the Twister logo with 2 Twisters, just a still. And I was like, oh my God, that's going to be awesome. Because I really love disaster movies. And we don't have them so much anymore, do we? They don't seem to come out very often.
No.
And I feel like it was a little disappointing from what I had in my mind. I don't know what I had in my mind, but it was a bit more, there was a bit more damage.
Okay.
And it was a bit more, I didn't feel much of a threat from this movie, even though like some little towns were getting taken out. I didn't feel like anybody was in danger, and it didn't feel that.
I got you. Whereas in the other one, you felt like, holy crap.
I kind of cared about the people in the other one. I think maybe I agree with some of these 1-star people that I wasn't really attached to these people in this one. I was highly expecting somebody to be sucked up into the Twister. And we're supposed to care, but I probably wouldn't have cared if they did, but they didn't.
Cold. That's cold.
My least favorite part of the original is people being sucked up into the Twister.
Because?
Because it's stupid.
You don't think people get sucked up in Twisters?
No, the way it's portrayed in that movie is very...
Because they do.
It's melodramatic as hell, though, in that movie. It's like, oh, look at them being sucked up into the Twister.
Yeah, but I think unless you've lived that, you don't know how weird it is.
Yeah.
I haven't either, but people have been sucked up in
Did they do like a nice love scene as they were going up in the Twister?
I don't know. I don't want to disrespect the dead people, so I don't know.
I think that's why I was a little disappointed with this. I just wanted more. Maybe Twisters 3. Twisters.
We got it.
Maybe that one will be the one that fulfills my
Twisters with a Z.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be like Sleepy Time? Twisters with a load of Z's on the end. That'd be the boring one, right? Where you'd fall asleep. You say you don't want that one.
Hollywood, he's right here. If you need him to write anything for you, he's right here. He's all yours.
Yeah, so, yeah, maybe the next one for me. I forgot to mention the director of this. The director is Lee Isaac Chung. He directed an excellent movie, Minari. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
With Glenn from The Walking Dead?
Yeah, that was good.
A farm in...
Yep.
Yeah, it was excellent. So I recommend you go and see that.
It was very good.
Yeah. He also directed some episodes of The Mandalorian. Thank you to Universal. Next week, we're going to look at the movie Furiosa, a Mad Max story.
Aye.
Exciting. Let's hope that one fulfills my... I'm not like, oh, disappointed.
Yeah, because you are the reason they make movies.
Yes. All right, movie recommendations. I'm going to give you... I was watching this movie. I was thinking of the original. I was thinking of Bill Paxton. Rest in peace, Bill. And I was thinking, what's my favorite Bill Paxton movie that's not Aliens? And it's A Simple Plan by the Coen brothers.
Oh, yeah, okay.
A fantastic movie. It's a real quiet, subdued movie, but it's got an awesome plot to it. It's really, really cool. And my other one, I just had to recommend the original Twister.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to recommend movies that I watched in the 20th century. That's from 1900 to 1999. And I've moved on to what I think are dramas. I was doing action adventure and I ran out. These are just movies I've seen. This is not a note about their quality. So Educating Rita, which when I was young was probably because it was now super freaking creepy because it's an older man and a young woman and on like a, maybe don't watch it, but I've seen it. So there you go. I think it was Michael Caine, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Then we have The Peacemaker, which I had completely forgotten. And then I watched the trailer and I'm like, oh yeah, I did watch that, but it's very forgettable.
What is that?
Nicole Kidman, George Clooney, stopping a nuclear terrorist on a train.
It's too vague. It's vague for me as well.
Then there's the classic Showgirls.
Excellent.
Moving on. And then there's Hero, and Sliver.
I think Hero is Jet Li, right?
I don't remember. And then Sliver. I'm so good with this.
It was from around the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon times.
Might have been. And then there's Sliver with Sharon Stone and one of the Baldwins.
I did not like that one.
It was very of its time and just a creepy, like a guy with cameras all over an apartment building and all. Everyone's sort of nasty, dirty secrets and stuff. It was just, it's grungy. Grungy in like a not cool way.
Yeah. No, it's not good. Not good. All right, thank you, Cidtalk. I've been playing a game this week. It's called Dark and Deep. Have you seen this game?
I've not.
You haven't seen anything about it? All right, so the tagline or the synopsis to this game is: a conspiracy podcast drags you into a hauntingly illustrated world of mystery and terror, reveals secrets and horrors with mystical frames given to you by a strange observer. Dark and Deep is a first-person cosmic horror game with a focus on puzzles and exploration. And you also, I will let you all know, you can play a demo of this on Steam if you want to check it out. It's actually available, the whole game, but there's also a demo, which is the whole first level, so you can see what it's like. So yeah, it's really, you're this guy, you dropped into this thing, and it's got this weird style to it. And I was like, what is this style? I've never seen it before. It's kind of a strange artistic thing. And I was like, what is this? Only, by the way, one guy made this game. He's been working on it for years and years and years. Finally, this week it came out. So it's just this one guy. He's called Walter Woods. And I was like, what is this look? I've never seen anything like it. Never seen any movies that look like it, games that look like it. So I had a look into his Wikipedia, and he said that it's all inspired, and you might know what this is, the 19th century artist Gustave Dore. Do you know who that is?
How do you spell the last name?
D-O-R-E.
Maybe.
Well, whatever his paintings look like is what this game looks like. So when you're sucked into this different dimension, I'm trying to make heads or tails of it. It's got kind of a Twin Peaks vibe to me. Like, I'm like, I don't know what the hell is happening. So I'm trying to make heads or tails as I play through it. But this look is you would really like it, Cidtalk, because it's like sketchy look. Like everything's like it's like black and white lines, but
artsy fartsy.
Yeah, but it's like more, if you know, when you look at a black and white line drawing, there's more black than white. This is like more white than black. It's a really odd look to it. But when you're in this realm, I would call it, that you get sucked into, you've got this, well, so far, I've played a couple of levels. You've got this like painting frame that you can hold up in front of you. And when you look through it, you see things that are not there. So it's kind of spiritual in that way. And you're trying to figure out, you're going from one area to another. You're reading clues. It's not a game where you shoot people. It's not a game where you are in danger in it. It's more of a, you're going through these really creepy, weird scenarios, and you're trying to find your way out. So there's a lot of puzzles and a lot of exploration. It's called Dark and Deep. If you like very weird looking, and also if you like podcasts, which I assume you do because you're listening to this, throughout the game, you're listening to a podcast. And the podcast is actually inspired by what's going on in the game. It's interesting how it all unfolds. So, Dark and Deep, it came out on August the 13th. You can get it now. It's on Steam. And
I can tell you about Gustave Dore, and it's basically just that he's a master draftsman, which means you draw, you know?
Yeah.
There are paintings as well, but it's not so much the style of his drawing, because it's very classical type. Nothing extraordinary about, like, different, but content, I noticed in a very quick view. Lots of skeletons and skulls and winged beasts and things like that.
There's certainly that in this game.
So that might be where they're just turning drawings into the video game. Yep. And yes, I had seen it, but his name didn't sound familiar. But
so this is on Steam. It's actually, because it's the launch week, it's regularly $20, but it's reduced to $15. So get it now if you're really interested. It's called Dark and Deep. Cidtalk, what's for dinner?
Well, you're going to make some flatbreads that are like cauliflower nacho flatbread something.
Something like that.
Something. So that sounds amazing.
And what is your advice? And then we'll get out of here.
My advice is, okay, you know how you specifically, whoever it is listening to this, maybe you're not a joiner or a belonger, or you're, rooted in being of a group that's very defined. But if you are one of those people, then maybe you won't get what I'm saying. But, a person can be of your defined group and still not be you. Like a person who, and we kind of, this off topic, but it leads to the same thing, is that I watch a gardener, and she did a whole video we just watched yesterday evening of her showing people how she keeps her nails nice. Like she uses plastic little press-on nails because people give her a lot of hate, and you can't be a real gardener with fingernails like that. Obviously, you're not really doing the gardening. You're just showing off your nails, like just stupid asshole shit. And her saying, I can have nice nails and be a gardener. Like, it's okay. And if you can't accept that, like, that's just too bad. But I can take care of my nails and make them look nice and dig in the dirt, right? So there's people who are saying, you can't be one of us because you're not the package deal. You're not grungy and gross and sweaty and disgusting, and your nails aren't all broken and all that. So they've defined what it is to be in their group. And right. She is not allowed to belong because she doesn't tick all the boxes, right? And it's kind of the same with anything. Like, I love my gardening, but I don't like being outside. I don't like getting my hands in the dirt. I don't like the bugs. I don't do traditional gardening styles or methods. I mean, I do when they work, and I don't when they don't, or when I want to try something different. So I don't fit there. I'm from a very small town, and people tell me all the time I'm a city girl because I'm not of them. Like, I don't listen to the same music.
They said that in this movie we just watched.
Yep, absolutely. Well, he was calling her city girl because she said she was from New York City. He didn't know she was from a small town. But so because I don't tick all the boxes, so let's say we're doing a little presentation, and one of the slides has all the rules for being of our group. So in order to be a small town person, you must, 1, listen to country music, wear jeans all the time, have a religion and go to church regularly, quotation marks around that. Think like us, have the same politics as us, have the same kind of accent as us, drive all the same vehicles as us. If you don't do these things, oh, we're so sorry. Even if you're from here, you're not one of us, right? So you can still have your group and introduce people who maybe tick off 3 of the 20 things, right? Whatever it is, to exclude people and then to make people feel as though they don't belong at all because something is different. And yet their heart is in there with you, right? The ultimate thing of being that thing you all share. But it's that superficial, stupid shit that you can't accept. I just say, I can be of you and not be you. That is it.
Nicely said. Ascully.com. That's the place you can go to listen to this podcast. You can also go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. There are social media. I'm Ascully, she's Cidtalk. You can go to ascully.com, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, even YouTube to listen to this podcast. And also, you can email me, ascully@ascully.com. Don't email Cidtalk. She doesn't want any of your emails. And stay classy, twisters. And let's see some more twisters. Tristers? Is that right?
I don't think so.
For the 3rd Twisters movie, Tristers. Get it?
It is not. Oh, and is that it?
Yes.
Oh, and I'm gonna say, think for yourself, because if you're not doing it, someone is doing it for you.